morning, everybody. Thanks for joining me this morning for devotions as we start a new week here. We are finishing up Matthew chapter 16. If you remember from last time, you have to apologize. I have to apologize to you. My throat I've got that drainage and it's messed with my voice. But Jesus has just finished kind of putting Peter in his place, telling him, on this rock I'll build my church, get behind me, Satan, kind of a thing. And I'm sure Peter, who was the one who received this, was kind of looking around to see if anybody else was paying attention and heard what had happened. And then Jesus kind of was focused on Peter, talking with him. And then he goes from focusing on Peter to kind of raising his voice up and speaking to everybody so everyone around could hear him. And Jesus begins to talk about what's going to happen next and how he wants them to live. But here's the thing about right living. Right living starts with right thinking. And Jesus wanted to make sure that their thinking was right, that they had the right ideas so that they could act correctly. So here's what he says. Then Jesus said to his disciples, so he's transitioned from Peter to all of them, if anyone wants to follow after me. Of course they would have all said, yes, we want to follow after you. Let him deny himself, take up his cross, and follow me. Jesus said something very similar, almost verbatim to that in Matthew 10. But here, the guys have seen a lot more. Jesus has predicted his death. They're starting to get what Jesus is saying. And Jesus is telling them, you got to take up your cross. We hear people talk about taking up their cross today, and it's all about, listening to, having to deal with a rough boss, or having a tough time in school, or their spouse doesn't put down the toilet seat, or whatever. That's not taking up your cross. That's weak, little, petty stuff. Taking up our cross is something that's very serious. It's living the life of total abandonment for Jesus. It's being willing to suffer in the worst possible way. The cross was the worst possible form of punishment. And so it's saying, I am willing to take the worst possible thing just so that I can follow you. Doesn't matter what it is. That's what I want. I want you so much that I'm willing to take it. He goes on, for whoever wants to save his life will lose it, and whoever loses his life because of me will find it. It gives the idea of those that hold on to their life with this white knuckle, trying to just, if I can just survive. They're the ones who are going to lose their life. But if we're willing to give it up for the Lord, that's when we truly find it. For what will it benefit someone if he gains the whole world, yet loses his life? Is it that important? Are the things that we're holding on to that important? We can never be a close follower of Jesus without living a life of self-denial, being willing to give up things so that we can follow Jesus. Or what will anyone give in exchange for his life? For the Son of Man is going to come with his angels in the glory of his Father, and then he will reward each according to what he has done. There it is. You need to understand, there is a reward coming. If you live right, if you think right and live right, it's a positive reward. If you think wrong and live wrong, then you're going to have to bear the consequences to that too. Truly I tell you, there are some standing here who will not taste death until they see the Son of Man coming in his kingdom. See, the disciples originally had the idea that Jesus was going to come and forcefully set up his kingdom, but he had to deal with the cross first. He's not literally telling his disciples, some of you are going to still be alive, after the church age and the millennium. It's not what he's teaching, and we're going to get into that as we go into the next chapter, because the next chapter is going to make that teaching very clear. So I don't want to overstep and jump into that yet. So I want us to focus this morning on this part about right living comes from right thinking. You ever think something and have an idea in your head and even be fully convinced of it and then find out you're wrong? That seems to happen to me sometimes. And sometimes it can happen frequently to me. And because I've had a wrong idea, it's caused me to do some things that were wrong. A wrong assumption about someone, a wrong idea of what needed to happen next, a wrong information that led me to a wrong decision. Yeah, if I have the right information and the right thinking, it can affect the way that I live. And Jesus wanted the disciples to know that in the kingdom, it's going to be about those who gave up, those who took their cross, those who really gave everything and lived and followed Jesus with total abandonment. Is that the way we follow Jesus today? Are we really following Jesus like wide open, where everything is all focused on him? I'd say if we're all honest, we'd say, I'm not there yet. I'm not quite there. But I want to be. And it can be hard, and it's inconvenient, and it's not necessarily fun. But it's the command if we're going to follow Christ. And sometimes you're going to take mocking and ridiculing, and even from your own family. But I want to live my life in a way that I have a clear conscience when I stand before the Lord. So how do I live that life? And how do I follow after the Lord so that I can have a clear conscience before him? That's what Jesus is trying to teach us. It's a tough one. See, taking up my cross is not just having to deal with a rough situation. It's a way of life. I'm carrying the burden. I'm carrying the pain. I'm carrying the suffering, the rejection every day. But I keep going forward because I can see, like Jesus saw, the joy that was set before him. He endured the cross, despising the shame, but is set down at the right hand of the Father on high. I can carry my cross because I know what's coming. I can suffer for a little while knowing that it's not going to last forever. So I want to encourage you, stay true. Keep going forward with the Lord. Do what he has for you to do. Because right living is preceded by right thinking. And we need to make sure that we're thinking right and having the right information so that we can follow after the Lord the way that we should be. Hope that encourages you today. Lord, I love you. Thank you for your word. Thank you for your spirit. Thank you for teaching me every day. Thank you for loving me. Help me to have right thinking, Lord. Help me to think the right things at the right time. And help me be willing to suffer the pain and rejection that you did so I can follow you with total abandonment. It's not fun, and I'm not looking forward to it, but I am looking forward to you. I'm looking forward to seeing you and to hearing you say, well done. That's what I want to live my life for. I can't wait until the day that I get to see you face to face. I love you. Amen. God bless you guys. Hope you have a great day.